The calling of God is to every one of us. And there are different levels of calling. But once you get this sense that God has called your name, I want to tell you, it'll change your life forever. But let me tell you another thing too. When you miss it, it will alter your life. Thursday at the conference, Pastor Phil preached Thursday night, and in true vintage style, Pastor Phil at the altar call. This guy just pumps and pumps and pumps for people to come to Jesus, connect with God. People who've never been connected with God, or people who once were and disconnected, need to reconnect. And there's Phil, he's giving the altar call, and there's 5 more people out there need to come down and respond. And he waits. About 5 people come. And he says, I know there's 1 more person. And he waits. You're thinking, how long? Thank God for pastors who are patient. I ain't one of them. I don't have that spiritual, it's not a gift, it's fruit. And we waited, and all of a sudden I turned to my left and looked up, and there comes Kevin Pond down, one of our men. Kevin started attending this church, which is an amazing thing. Grab the microphone, come up, Kev. Kev started coming to this church because a bit over 2 years ago, Brad gave his life to the Lord, and he got baptized here, and the whole family came to see. And then the family started coming together, and as you know, Jeff got baptized at Easter, and Becky, your wife, their mother, started coming along, and you've been coming, and week after week you've been coming, and you've just been kind of watching and been gracious and a good gentleman. But, 2 weeks ago, I preached on something, God's a God of second chances. And I'm standing here, and as sure as I'm talking to you right now, I knew God said to me, Kevin needs to move. But I'll never kind of point somebody, unless I believe that this is your last day on the planet, I'm not going to go, get out of your seat and get down here. It's dangerous if you don't. And I didn't do that, and he didn't move. But he referred back to that yesterday. Kevin, what happened? Because we talk about this thing, the call of God, and your story you shared with me yesterday I thought it was incredible. And what happened? Don't tell every detail, but what happened that caused you, you disconnected from God. You once used to be very connected to God.
Yeah, well, so I was saved.
Sure.
And my wife and I, excuse me if I get a bit crackly, we were running a youth group, just similar to what Pastor Kira and Adam do. We'd have 180 kids on a Friday night.
This was here in Newcastle?
In Newcastle, Light Street, 66 Light Street, Bar Beach.
Wow.
Every Friday night, 80 or 100 kids would turn up, and they would just
Fabulous.
sing choruses. We'd feed them with the word, and then they'd have supper, and we'd go down to the beach and have lots of fun. We'll make it quick. I was pretty much on fire for the Lord. My wife always thought she had a calling to be a missionary, but she came to Australia with her parents. She met me, and I changed the course of her life, of what she thought God wanted her to do. Becky was 17 when we got engaged, married at 18. I just got out of the army. We were very much on fire for the Lord. I believe that we had a call of Bible college.
Wow. So you had a call of God on your life?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
Definitely. There was no 2 ways about it. And but choices.
Yeah.
Came
So something happened, and you made a choice that took you away from that.
Yeah, we won't get into all of that because there's really no need for that. But yeah, I made a choice, not Becky. I made a choice that I guess I was going to be, can you say, partially obedient?
Right.
I wasn't obedient to the full sense. I was just partial in my Christian walk.
Yeah.
And so I chose not to follow that call.
Yeah. And what happened then?
We went overseas, and we were doing some youth work in Texas and some youth work in Oklahoma and so forth, and a little bit of preaching. And we came back to Australia, and the church that we came back to was kind of into a split, and Kevin and Becky were going to be the saviours of the church, and that never happened. And some things crucially hurt, or basically really, it did hurt, but I really took my eyes off the Lord and chose to go my own way, chose to surf rather than
So 2 things really happened. The first one was you knew God had a calling, so we'll do it halfway, which really isn't following the calling.
Not at all.
No. But then the second thing, and see, I think what you did, you positioned yourself to get offended. You positioned yourself to get offended, and as soon as it happened, I'm out all the way.
Yep.
And then you walked out for how long?
That would have been, I'll be 59 in July, and that would have happened when we didn't have our first son. Jeff's 27, so it's got to be a good 30 years ago.
30 years ago. And how long did you kind of stay out, just out of the loop with God?
I was just in my own little zone and comfort zone, and for a long time, and it was only 10 years ago that I really started to go back to church. So
Yeah.
There was a great void there.
Yeah.
Not in my wife's life. My wife was very faithful, took our sons to Sunday school and church, went through Belmont Christian College, so Becky remained very faithful. I don't think I was an immoral person.
No.
I don't think that I had Christian principles, but was I serving the Lord in where He wanted me, and did I have the fullness of God, and did I have a full Christian life? No.
Wow.
Did I give to my boys as a father that I should have? No. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Becky did.
Yeah.
I never opposed it, but I wasn't the father that I should have been. And young people, it's choices.
Yeah.
And even if you're 59 tonight, I got to tell you, and I guess other than Jeff and I, there's not too many grey-headed fellas here. God does have a plan. And
That's right.
I said to Keith yesterday, I hope God has a plan for me now. You know, because I'm no different to what the children of Israel were. 40 years. And I've just been reading that in Exodus, you know. And 40 years.
Now, here's the interesting thing. You decided I better do the right thing, go back to church. But what did you tell me yesterday about that experience?
Oh, well, I was in church for, 10 years. I guess it's only been the last 6 months that we've really been coming up here. Brad recommitted his life. And Brad just said, Dad and Mum, can we be a family in church, you know? And we thought, well, yeah, okay, well, we'll be a family. And we came up here and...
Bit different? Very different.
I was a good old Baptist boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but Craig's a good old Baptist boy too.
Jeff was a good old Baptist.
Yeah.
Murray was a good old Baptist.
Oh,
Is there such a thing as a good old Baptist boy? Anyway.
And actually, that actually made us feel at home because we knew Murray and Len, and we knew other people, Margaret and Gary. And, and we'd been in youth groups at similar times at Belmont Baptist many years ago. Yeah. Yeah. So, no, we came. And
so even though you sat in church for 10 years?
Yep. Was never moved.
Never moved.
It just went through the motions.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if there's people going through the motions tonight, but I've got to tell you, and hold on to it, because there is a whole world out there. And I see, and I'm blessed by the people. You know, Becky said, well, what brought you to this point? I said, Becky, it wasn't just presence. It was the seed that was by Pastor Craig, by Pastor Kira, by the girls that would get up and tag team. You know, I was amazed, these girls getting up and talking, and, you know, and I'm taking it in. You know? And then Rick, and the process of that, the seed that was planted, the harvest happened in Sydney.
Good.
So
it started here.
Well, yeah, there's potential life that's given each night, each Sunday night. You know?
Good.
And I've seen my wife coming forward. We both sat in church for 10 years. I'd never seen Becky go forward. Is that right?
In 6 months here, she's just
been,
experienced
yeah,
God.
I kept saying to her, you better sit down. They're going to get sick of you going up front.
Never. No. Get as much as you can.
So it's been great.
God, and I told you yesterday, look, God's not finished with you. You're not here just as an example, and you're not here just as a supplier. I said to you, how old's your father-in-law?
Becky's dad is 82,
and
81.
He's still preaching?
Still preaching.
And I said, mate, 20-something more years, you could be out there going for it.
Yeah.
You're not finished.
Yep.
You're not finished, I'm telling you.
Yep.
I think God's got something awesome for you. Come on, give him a hand. Thanks, Kevin. That is awesome.
Can I say
one more thing?
One more thing.
You're doing well. Go for it.
My wife told me that I should personally thank anyone who's had any involvement in Jeff and Brad's life. So you guys, we really appreciate it. Just one more thing. I said my wife had a heart for missions. She's going to Borneo in July with the missions team.
Awesome. Good stuff. Fabulous.